Which other film have you seen?
I'm sorry, the screen's a bit. My screen has gone funny on my.
What
It's not
other
showing
movie?
when I've gone live. So yeah, we are live now, though, aren't we? Does it say live?
Yeah,
You mean this week or?
yeah, yeah. You said that you've seen some
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. I've got like a list, and I've got some of the images from the films prepared as well to show. So I will mention those. But what's this image here? Oh no, that's something from another film that I was. Um, so yeah, there is a very strange trailer which we can have a look at. Sorry, this which has this image in it, and
Whoa,
it seems
it
to
is.
be anyway. I can't really say what it's about because it's so curious, and it fits into my sort of some of my crazy conspiracy theories that I have, half jokingly at times about.
Mm-hmm.
I have interpreted like fucking hell. Hello. Hi, I'm just doing a live video now, so I can't talk. Is something wrong or? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Someone who's like a friend that not someone I see very much, but seems to be like I was telling you beforehand. I'm not very accustomed to doing later night videos, but especially not at the moment because I used to be sort of like staying up too late watching various films and things like this, and then it was making me not very well really. So I started having earlier nights and things, but
Yeah,
uh, it
no,
did
I
help
know.
me feel a bit better. But um, this is one film I saw about a week ago now called Triangle of Sadness, which is
Okay.
I think the director is foreign, but it actually won the
Don't-
Palme d'Or. I saw a comment that maybe they were being a bit over generous giving the Palme d'Or, but on the other hand, I don't know. I just think certain kinds of films fit into that um, awards. What is guaranteed a winner there and things like this. So, and this film certainly has it shifts between sort of a story between a couple who are both models. And it
Okay.
starts off really just like a kind of a. So you think it's going to be like a male himbo and a female model, like, but
Mm-hmm.
they're more just squabbling over their relationship. But mainly it's about the fact that she earns more than him as a female model, which I imagine is probably true to life. But she doesn't want to pay for anything, and then so they end up with disagreements over that. This is how the film starts. I mean, this might not sound sort of the most fascinating viewing known to man, but it goes. I actually quite enjoyed all of that aspect, and actually the young woman who is, I think she was only 32 in it, playing the model in it. Sadly, just before the film was released, she actually died. So
Oh, wow.
and it's quite surprising, especially when you see her in the film, because she definitely like impacts on the film sufficiently. Um, Basically, yeah, she had some kind of underlying problem going back to when she had her hernia operated on the thing, and then she got sepsis much later. And so, anyway, it's an interesting facet of the film, but sad, I suppose, as well. But basically, it turns out they win a cruise. They just switch straight to a cruise, and they too, because she's an influencer, she's got a place on this cruise, which is I'm not sure where it's going to. I think it's going to basically a resort or something, or some kind of pamper type thing. Um, you know, there's been a number of films like this recently. I think there was one like that, Eight Perfect Strangers with Nicole Kidman TV show. I'm not sure if it's called that, but and there's around the same kind of lines, and even Glass Onion, for instance. You know, but it does seem like there's sometimes a bit of a spree of films similar to each other. But once they get onto the actual yacht, not the yacht, it's a big ship basically, and it's got a lot of older passengers mainly, as you can imagine, and things like that. They're all. It's mainly centered around them all having lots of lovely food and stuff after a while, but I mean, most of the cast are foreign, apart from maybe a couple who might be English. And there's Woody Harrelson playing the captain, and he's in his room just refusing to come out. They keep knocking on his door. The woman who's in charge of all the services and looking after everybody, who's actually very able at that and great. You know, she's more in charge of anything than the captain, because it makes you wonder who's actually steering this ship. If he's not on board, on deck or whatever, you know, and they keep going to his door, and, you know, you just hear the clattering of bottles. So you're obviously thinking he's got a drink problem. But I mean, Woody Harrelson plays that part brilliantly, but it's especially funny when he actually is brought out. And by that point, the boat on this wonderful cruise, it seems to be going into ever increasing stormy seas, and the way it's filmed and everything is brilliant. Actually, I mean, that's impressed me. But it just had these shots of him standing with this other guy. I can't remember who he was, and they're at an angle as the boat is like this, and they're standing there trying to look, you know, properly in sort of standing to attention or whatever. And yeah, it's just, and it carries on with them being served all of this fish type food, i.e., you know, mussels, crabs, lobsters, all sorts of urchins, no doubt, whatever. But the woman, and then the boat's going so crazy, people are starting to get nauseous. And so this one woman's saying, eat something. If you've got nausea, eat something and it will feel better. And so, yeah, well, I mean, you can imagine where it goes. Anyway, I won't go. I did actually mention that to my mother, and she was like, okay, all right, yeah. So basically, to cut things short about this film, it culminates abruptly again. It's just an abrupt cut to a few of them are now castaways, or now, you know, on a desert island.
Yeah. And
it follows them there. And there's basically a Filipino woman, or Thai, I don't know what, I can't, no offense intended, but she was basically, they describe her as, one woman says, you were head of the toilets, you were in charge of toilets, and when you hear it, you're like, what on earth, what a thing to say. You know, but she says, then anyway, she declares herself the captain, the Filipino one, because she says, I'm the only one here who can catch fish, and I'm the one who caught you an octopus, and then we ate it. It's slightly, I mean, okay, yes, by that point it's slightly stretching reality, because they do find a small, must be a lifeboat or something that had water on it and things like that, but it makes you wonder how they're surviving once they've run out of that and things, and the scarce things they can catch, etc. But it's just a film that you have to see, really. That's all I can say. I mean, I certainly enjoyed it a lot. So the people who gave it a part, or, you know, I'm not going to protest that too much, because I mean, while at heart, to kind of get back to the focus often we discuss Lynch and things like that, and Twin Peaks, you know, I mean, he won a Palme d'Or, and many people complained over that, really, and said, you know, it didn't warrant the Palme d'Or, it's too this or that, you know, or it's just Lynch being weird for weird's sake. No, we're not cancelling, Isabella. We were just, I delayed everything because I was burying plenty of Easter eggs outside. So this whole show is going to be not like, you know, 4 hours, but it's more just me covering a few films and stuff. And then I know that Marlena says she wants to talk about Scream, but I don't know if I've given you a bad impression of the film. Scream 6, I should say. So that is another one I saw this week, of course. But
you've seen Scream 5, right?
Yes, I remember, like, all I remember about it is that a lot of it is in the school.
Yeah, but it was very good, I think. Scream 5. When they are like older, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, but Scream 4 is that as well, really. But Scream 4 was actually directed by Wes Craven. That came out in 2011. And then
No, but Scream 5 is the new one. The new one
the most recent prior to this. It literally came out last year. They seem to have made these films almost like back to back, or
yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they made them simultaneously, because if that was, I remember that being a stronger film. That's all I can say. I don't know whether I've had my memory or something, but it was decent for what it was. I will say that it was, at moments, Scream 5 was shockingly violent at times. It would have these shots where the knife was literally just going right through someone's neck, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but
you mean I think when the teenagers killed? I mean, I don't want to spoil, but where the teenager is the killer, right? That's what you're talking about.
I need to watch. Yes, I believe so, but I think.
Okay.
I know that Neve Campbell was still in Scream 5, wasn't she? But she's not in this.
Yes.
Courtney Cox is in this one.
Neve Campbell. Yeah, Neve Campbell was there. Yeah.
She didn't want to be in Scream 6. That's basically it.
Maybe but she wasn't there. But was it worse than Scream 5, Scream 6?
Oh yeah, I mean, for me it was. It lacked what the most. I mean, you know, I prefer to sort of say that it could be from my own sort of subjective opinion. Like, I almost wanted to ask people who were seeing it with me yesterday, what did you think about this? You know, and but I didn't detect a mass feeling of enthusiasm when people were going out either.
Okay.
I think it had some aspects of it which were okay, but I don't. In a way, it's like I'm going to spoil it if I start mentioning specific scenarios and things. But the film starts off, and it's got Samara Weaving in it, who is known from that film Ready or Not, which was actually a rather good film, I thought. She's, you know, and she's basically. I won't say any more. Basically, that's all I need to say, really.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but anyway, if you're a fan of Scream, I think, you know, you have to see Scream 6 if you're a fan.
Well, yeah, I think the thing with me is I'm sort of a half fan, so I think one issue I have with this one is the things that can work in its favor, where you are like following formula and everything like this, and there is a sort of certain joy in that, you know, for a viewer. We kind of enjoy a certain degree of formula and sort of like, this is how it's going to be. And so this is what angered some people, for instance, with Twin Peaks: The Return. You know, it didn't follow like a set idea by any means, I don't think, really, but not too much anyway. And like, this has the moments where, you know, the Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds Red Right Hand song comes in just a bit, but it almost feels like truncated, and then it's just shoved in there, and you're just thinking, what's that there for in that moment? Like, it's always used as the establishing shot, you know, as they come over the trees or something. But this, I didn't capture anything of what I thought Scream partly was concerned with, or which, you know, it painted for you. The picture of like an atmospheric small town, rather bucolic and sort of, yeah, I mean, certainly in the first Scream, there are some really good shots in that and things like that. And the problem with this film, I was watching it, and yes, okay, I did sit very close to the front. So I was, you know, literally, there was couple of rows in front of me, but then I was just back here. But it was one of these rather good cinemas with these kind of big plush seats and all sorts of room for if you wanted to take food in. But yeah, it felt like everything was shot in mid-shot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just focused on the faces of the main actors. And it reminded me as well, like with the credits, it comes up, you know, as one of the producers, Kevin Williamson. Like he was, I always associated him with Dawson's Creek, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, but Scream combined that, didn't it? It had both the slasher film, but then it had the teen film all in one.
Yeah, exactly.
And with this one, I don't know, I didn't particularly like the main characters or main character. I didn't particularly think, you know, Jenna Ortega, who's known now for Wednesday, of course, really. There were these shots where she's there with her apparently half sister in the, and I was completely confused by any of the relationships to anybody or past things that have happened in previous films. Apparently, she was in the past film, but I was not aware of who she was then even. But like, she's quite small. And then her sister's standing next to her, and there's like these shots where there's, and this sounds like really like I'm being peevish, you know, like that's not what the film's. That's not important, you know, how tall the actress is. It's more just the composition of everything throughout it. Everything throughout it is filmed like in mid shot, as if it's shot for TV in a way, and it doesn't have. It just doesn't have a kind of a momentum to it. Where I would say in the previous films, and there's by no means were all of them were perfect by any means. You know, like when you got to like, I think Scream 2 was not too bad. Scream 3 was a bit not great always, but compared to this, very good, you know. So but they had movement of the camera, they had like things going on, and it just felt better made. It just, I don't know, it just feels really like, so it gets to the point where it's like a film about the Stab films, or is it a film about the Scream film, like where they're on the actual train and it's just basically them, and even that sequence is nothing that impressive. It's almost like, well, they could have just filmed this on maybe a few platforms in New York or one, and then they just filmed it on a sound stage with, you know, people shaking a carriage about that they've made, and you know, there's people all on the train dressed as, of course, Ghostface and all that. They're just looking around like going, yeah, but the thing is, maybe it's because I saw it already in the trailer. I don't know. Or maybe I've grown out of this kind of thing. Not that I ever particularly, I mean, I really think it's just something almost to think about closely, like exactly how, I think that the best things the Scream films had was a certain shock value mixed with a sort of coziness almost. So, I don't know. It's just, but the trouble with this one is it just felt, I don't know. It's just, I'd have to study the actress who was in it and in which particular scene at the end. Like, it would shift between something really horrific happening and then the Jenna Ortega character almost making a joke and smiling at someone. And it's like, it just felt really just out of, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe it would have worked, like maybe they're trying something that would have worked in previous films. But I really feel like you've got to have a really devious and nasty kind of killer. Otherwise, if the killer is just any old random person, which I'm talking about with this film, you just think,
Random person, really, in this film?
Well, I mean, I could be just giving broad swipes at the film and sort of.
Okay, no, it's okay. Don't spoil it.
I,
But I mean,
I don't want
because
to.
in Scream 5, the killer was very familiar to the viewer. It was one of the people there, in the group, one of the teenagers. So it was very unexpected, and I really love that. That the element of
Yeah.
surprise.
Well, I would be interested to hear your opinion of this film, having
Yeah.
heard that your response, because, well, it reflects on this film, but I think initially, you see, there's more than one surprise killer in this. This is not really ruining the film or anything, but like from the instant that the film gets going, there's that initial killing, like there is in every film. Every one of them series, but it's about, and I think it's quite well done in this one. I actually think that sequence is good, but when the revelation of who done it, it's I was like at a loss to think exactly how this is supposed to be, impacting on me in any way. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really difficult to. Well, thank you for Jamie in the chat. She said they were Richie's family. I'm not sure if she's ruined the entire film or. I don't know what.
I don't understand anything. So Jamie saw the movie.
Yeah, she saw it before me, actually.
Okay, so I don't understand anything. So.
Well, the funny thing about this film is it's gone on to. It's done quite well at the box office. I mean,
of course, it's Scream.
But better than the last one.
Oh.
But the thing is, there's a variety of different factors which are going to help with that. The fact that this is presenting itself as something new, like Scream in the city, and
Okay.
But the trouble is, it's not really like that. Most of the action occurs around the apartments where they live, these students, around the campus in a few short scenes. Yeah, basically that kind of thing. Really, it's not like roaming all over the city throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
There's no car chase with the Ghostface killer in it. I mean, that would have been good. Maybe, but
they can use the same ideas that they had in Scream, the previous Scream. There was it with the car chase. No, not the car chase. I think there was something with the car. Yeah, it was with the car chase. No, the killer was in the car. I forgot.
I don't know. I mean, with all the different plot lines and sort of twists and turns and all that kind of thing, they essentially. There's a tongue-in-cheek aspect about this film where they've got essentially like a museum within like someone's made it in an old movie house, of like all the different killings and things, and so it's sort of. That was a more interesting aspect of the film, but at the same time, I just didn't feel the style of direction and everything. I mean, it's not on a par with Wes Craven, and it's not on a par with the last film either, which I thought was, even though I might not have liked it as much as you, I still thought it was kind of quite well done. Yeah. And it had some good chase sequences and things like that.
Yeah, and it was like this shock element that the killers were teenagers. It was so horrifying, because...
Yeah, I remember. It's coming back to be a bit minor. It was well done, the last film. My problem with this one is it just seemed like... my general impression of it was that they just cut corners in terms of its making. And it felt very... just lackluster and sort of like not trying to make something very, like, I know, for instance, they made the Scream series, Like this, probably, I don't know if how this would compare with that. So I don't know. There's other reviews. I went onto like Rotten Tomatoes, which Voltaire introduced me to, and that website, and there seemed to be quite a few people being pretty positive about the film. So
okay, that is very high rated site for reviewing movies, so it's very, very trustworthy. Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could be. Some people might see the film as being like, okay, it's going in a new direction, and so the next one will undoubtedly probably be better than this. It's almost like a bit of just a turn, you know, in the plot, or twist in the plot sort of thing into something else. Because I mean, they've said that they would like to get Neve Campbell back, for instance, but the thing is, how long are you just going to rest on the laurels of the previous cast? Mm-hmm. I mean, her being in it, I do think it always adds a certain degree of quality for some reason, because I think she's really good in the role. Mm-hmm. And it's really important to the show, to the whole, well, the franchise as such, but more so than, say, Courtney Cox, more so than David Arquette was. But then David Arquette's character's killed off, isn't he? So
yeah, he does.
And it's like, I think is each film just going to go on a succession of films where they just kill off the old cast? Like, to me, that's like a bad idea, I think.
Yeah, but it's like a very, very, very creative direction, because it just inserts the idea in the viewer that these people who were chased by the killer for so many years, they are never going to get rid of the killer. You know?
Yeah, but by the very fact of that, which is just good plot, you know, and realistic, you know, it's not like a fairy tale, obviously, situation. You know, you've got to have a degree of realism. Sorry, and that was lacking in this one. So, even though this one was very violent, I would say it had a lot of. But this one shot at the end, I don't know if you're still watching, Jamie. This one of the cast members who's kind of a lesser in the background cast members, and it's basically a bunch of, like, you know, classmates or people who know each other as students, but none of it is really explained. None of it is really explained what they're studying or anything, as far as I'm concerned. And basically, this is one of them, and she gets grabbed by the ghost face, and he, you know, he's got that massive knife, and he stabs her right in the stomach, I believe, one of these ones, this woman, and she's fairly slim. Then there's actually a shot where he pushes the knife upwards like this. And I was like, this is horrific. You know, this is just... I do have a certain question about some of that stuff in it. It's like, is some of this just tasteless for the sake of kind of making people go, you know, it's... But the thing is, then I was like watching the end of the film, and then that girl's just sitting around at, you know, on the edge of an ambulance being treated. Like, oh, my stomach hurts a bit. It's like, I think Mark Kermode talked about this in a... Am I right, Jamie, in thinking that? Was that the same girl? Or what? 'Cause I don't understand how the one who I saw being so brutally attacked could have been literally like an animal. They said that there is some talk of this in the dialogue and stuff, but she seems to be fine. Or am I getting mixed up? I don't know.
Do. Oh,
yes, I will dress up as Mark Kermode, definitely. Yeah, I don't know what that would involve, really. I mean, on a recent show, they used to do it, and it was on BBC News. Him talking about, for a 15-minute show about him talking about the latest releases. Now they do it, Kermode and Simon Mayo, and it's mainly on the radio, but they do a video of it that goes to YouTube, and he was wearing a Twin Peaks t-shirt recently. So
no, make sure Yeah, I watched it. Very good. Very short.
But is that channel? I mean, is that Netflix or?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So it's not like The Witches of
It's
East End or whatever it was called. That one that was made, with Major Meek, Shelley from Twin Peaks. You never heard of that one? It's not a film. I mean, sorry, it's not a series that I ever watched, but she had like black hair.
Mayfair Witches is made after Anne Rice's book.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, I think I've seen it somewhere online.
Very real, like has these surreal elements. Maybe it's Twin Peaksy feeling. Spoilers.
No, I honestly can't remember which one I'm talking about, Jamie. She was one of the ones who seemed to be, weren't they, like lesbians or something? So it's like that kind of is an example of the throwaway nature of the film, where there's these characters and they're sort of, okay, oh, they're the lesbians. And that's it. There's no development whatsoever of them as cast members. So why do we develop them as being specifically lesbians or anything? It's just they shouldn't be characterized purely down to that kind of thing. It's just stereotyping. It's almost, just why can't there just be two girls in it who are very good friends or something? That's it.
Yeah, you see that in many new movies now they have to bring up homosexuality because we have.
The thing is, I don't feel I'm not talking about like tokenism necessarily, or like woke being, like it's got to be there present. I think it's more a question of, if you're going to cover it, at least cover it sort of in depth to some degree.
Yeah, exactly.
And make it a part of the show.
We don't care so much about it, so that's why.
Well, they should have lesbian, killers in the next Scream film. So,
but
this is the kind of thing that's going to happen, though, because they got. How are they going to continue it? Where it goes? Is it going to just go into the city, and then it's going to carry on with these characters being still in the city and things, like maybe doing some kind of jobs or something? And it's like, I don't know. That's just a bit not very interesting to me. Because it's a bit like, if they did Twin Peaks and then they'd done Twin Peaks: The Return, and everybody in it was working in different towns, or a variety of people were all working in different towns, and it was called, like Twin Peaks Goes to the City. I mean, it's a kind of bad example, but I'm sure there's been other shows where they've done this kind of thing. But for me, if my feeling is, if you want to sort of really put a spin on a franchise and sort of take it into new places, you should do something more like Freddy v. Jason, really. Even with something like this, I think. I don't know. It'll inevitably happen. They'll probably bring in like a well-known killer into the Scream franchise. Maybe. Because, I mean, I can just imagine, like, looking at you now that you're thinking about it quite seriously. Marlena, you're thinking, what would it be like if Leatherface was in Scream? No, maybe not.
I don't know. I'll have to watch this new Scream to decide for myself. Because I loved all the movies, like even the one that you didn't like so much, the Scream 5, they are older. I loved it. I thought.
No, I mean, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone and seen this. You see.
Yeah.
But it could be partly as well the cast and just the fact that I thought that the whole plot was just and the scenario was lackluster, the settings and things. So
was Jenna Ortega the part of the killers, or
no, they didn't turn in. She would have been
has
the midget. Then it would have been like Don't Look Now with a midget killer or something, you know.
because she's
she's so small. I couldn't stop. It's like, come on, give her a box or something. She's there next to her supposed half sister.
You are discriminating. Small.
She's like down here. Her sister's up here, and she's got this like. It's very obvious why they cast her in Wednesday, because she's got this kind of sulky expression.
Yeah,
it's very,
she has very dark.
But when she's not smiling on it, or when she's not expressing herself, but she really needs to take her acting up a notch to where it's not just like resting bitch face. Because most of this film, she's just stood there like this, kind of like, I mean, not like that, but she's got this sort of like very distinctive. And she literally looks like she's about 14, wandering around with all these university students. It's odd, but I don't know.
She played in the series you know, and she played a 14-year-old when she was 18 or 19. She looked like really small. Like
in this, I noticed she looked like almost a sort of her natural. I mean, she's pretty slight and everything, but you know, she looks an average kind of weight in this. Because I've noticed ever since the Wednesday popularity that she seems, any pictures I've seen of her, she looks like more angular on her, and her face is like that anyway. It's like, it just makes you think. I don't know. I mean, it could be. I don't think that's just because like she just thinks I'm going to eat less, you know, or I'm going to do some running around the block. It's like, I do think they encourage them to lose weight if they can, and just to be more photogenic and all this kind of thing. And it's not good. Not good.
But that's part of the Hollywood, you know, rule. You have to look a certain way and you have to have a certain weight.
I know. Jamie says she's actually taller than her.
Oh, really?
I don't think so, Jamie. I mean, she must be about the same as you or so.
What?
I think that.
How tall is she, this one?
I've seen clips of her when she was at Saturday Night Live recently, and she's pretty good in the comedy stuff. I really think she would be a good comedy actress. I mean, the Wednesday obviously is quite comedy, so. But she was playing like, you know, doing the Reagan in The Exorcist, kind of, you know, flopping around in the bed and everything. So.
Jenna Ortega. No.
Yeah, on Saturday Night Live. So.
Okay. I thought you said that she was playing the Reagan in the.
What, in the new Exorcist film? They've got one coming out this year. Believe it or not. I don't mean the Pope's Exorcist. I almost was looking at the title of that and the trailer again. I've seen the trailer.
Really?
The Pope's Exorcist. It's got Russell Crowe in. And I was thinking Hollywood has made this so that people have really low expectations of this new Exorcist film. But, you know, it's just.
I don't have expectations of that, for sure.
Well, I mean, you can't. I think they can either do it like a disservice or at least make a half-assed effort. And I think with the David Taylor Green, or whatever his name is, the director of the Halloween sort of re-update, remake, him doing the new Exorcist type thing, it could turn out okay, but it's almost like they've got to take it in a new direction anyway, because if all they do is like trying to make it a worthy recreation of the original films and stuff, or the original Exorcist, it's impossible. So it's not going to be. It's not a remake anyway. They're just following on as if, you know, there's another exorcism going on somewhere.
You know what? I was thinking lately that it's just impossible to watch a really good horror movie that is made recently. I haven't watched any good horror movies from the late years. I mean,
Oh,
all the good ones are old.
well, how about this shot here? This is a image from Triangle of Sadness for you.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not horror.
These are the male models. They're like, there's this one sequence where the cameraman, the photographer, keeps telling them, like, doing different kinds of photo shoots, like a very high budget one or a low budget one, and they require different kind of posing and stuff. It's quite funny. But,
Okay, yeah.
oh,
Infinity Pool. Oh yeah, I wanted
yes,
to ask you.
I've watched Infinity Pool this week,
It's good, right?
a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
No, 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 no. But I've heard very good opinions of it. I've read really good.
Well,
Really good.
I wonder sometimes about critics and different reviews and things like that. Like I did look up reviews of that, and if you look at the rotten ones on Rotten Tomatoes, that's more tending towards my opinion on this film, Infinity Pool. I thought it had sort of a premise and certain aspects of it that I like, especially the main actor. I forgot what his name is now.
Ryan.
Mickelson. Lars Mickelson, is it?
Oh yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, and it's got that Mia Goth in it. She's
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
kind of really be annoying if she wants to be in certain roles and things, but she's in this film quite a bit, but it has these hallucinogenic sort of sequences that were quite well done, but at the same time, I kind of felt that they were too just stretched out and not very impactful in a way. Just if you were going to compare it to, say, something that maybe Lynch had directed, or so forth, it would have been better, for instance. But yeah, I've not been very convinced by this Brandon Cronenberg, his output. So, inevitably people are going to compare him to his dad, but I don't know. Just to say that, David Cronenberg, but
So what do you mean Infinity Pool is made by Cronenberg's son?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. So it might be interesting to see what the son is.
It's got a few bits in it which are well done, but other bits. But within the setting of like a 2-hour film, it's literally got about half an hour of stuff which could have made a short film. Where they're sort of making replicants of people and things like this, and you think, oh, this is a really interesting idea. Okay, this is completely silly and just wacky, but you have to go with it within the film. But then when there's so much left sort of for us to be desired to sort of imagine, I feel like, for instance, if you look at, say, David Cronenberg's films, he might have shown that kind of thing really quite in depth. If they're going to actually like make a whole person again, which they do in this film.
Oh wow!
But they don't really show you how they do it. It's just sort of, yes, okay, it's fantastical, but it's freaky. But it's at the same time, it just felt a bit stretched. That's pretentiousness overload. It was just, I hate to be like that in a way, because I just think, this is the kind of film I should enjoy. But I had a similar feeling about the previous film, even though it had a memorable sequence in it, of course, Possessor, which was made by the same guy, But, I don't know. It's like, just because your dad is a great filmmaker doesn't necessarily mean the son is going to be, does it? So,
no, but They will try to be.
Yeah, but the fact that they're doing it because it's, like what
and
Voltaire will always be shouting about this on this show, saying about nepotism, for instance. You think, but I mean, I actually think that the Cronenberg Jr., like, he's got a certain ability, definitely, and talent, but like, it's whether he needs like a good editor or somebody just staged the film differently, perhaps. Because it's another film where, like, they're on a. This is literally another one of these films that we were talking about initially, where it's set on the luxury resort,
Yeah.
So, but then things seem to go a bit crazy all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, I have to watch it to give my opinion.
Yeah. Well, the trouble, I actually don't see Mia Goth as particularly remarkable within the film. Like, she basically just does her own thing, and she can be quite give a sort of hysterical kind of performance, or like she has this whole kind of natural speaking voice. She literally sounds like Joanna Lumley, or she also resembles slightly Hayley Mills. And so she's got this kind of more, I don't really want to say posh, but like a more upper class kind of voice, old English style a little bit. And I mean, yeah, of course, I think there's an aspect of her doing that for her performances. She's good, but I think she's probably better in some other films. Like, I've seen that film Pearl. I've seen a clip of her in that, and she goes completely hysterical in that, shouting at this guy, and it's quite scary.
Yeah, Pearl is in the cinemas now. I really want to see it because, again, if you put Pearl on YouTube, you'll see great reviews. Pearl and X, she.
Yeah, I think those films would be more up my, up my kind of street, but.
Yeah, it's still like a serial. It has a serial killer vibe.
Yeah, it's like a prequel to X, basically. So apparently, I've not even. And then there's already been one made after that. They've made them very quickly. So.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, people talk about her performance in Pearl, so she sounds really crazy. So she looks really crazy. So that's interesting.
Well, yeah, I've read of people. I mean, I've searched on Reddit. You can kind of literally find anything. I don't know if you've ever looked on that and on there. And I put in kind of Mia Goth is so annoying, Reddit. Because I was finding her really annoying in this film. I mean, she is. Yeah. She can absolutely nail being really annoying, but that in itself is a skill as a part of her acting. But but it's a question of what does it work for the film particularly. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems to be a whole host of these films ever since like Get Out, where it's like kind of more upper class people using other people for their entertainment and that kind of thing, and entrapping them and all this kind of thing. And Infinity Pool is a bit along that kind of line, really.
But I mean, Get Out.
Oh well, Get Out. I like Get Out, but I liked.
There is another movie with still by the same director with the strangers who come in the house.
I like that one the most myself.
It's very beautiful. Yeah, I know.
Voltaire kept saying like on here, and that he didn't like that one as much because of the voice that she had. Where she goes like, I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it now. Sorry, but you can probably do it better. I thought that was really good though, because it's just yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, but it really worked for the film. And the film,
crazy.
The film had this sort of aspect of the unknowable about it. A similar thing that sometimes Lynch can kind of convey, where it's like you're thinking, like, what exactly is going off here? You know, what is exactly going off? I don't understand this. And you're just very much left to your own devices.
Yeah. The lead in Mayfair Witches, you haven't seen Mayfair Witches, is with.
No, I haven't seen it.
That actress who looks like Audrey, but you know she's really good. I've forgotten her name. She plays this woman who is like having premonitions. No, she doesn't have premonitions. If she doesn't like, if she doesn't like someone, or if someone is bad with her or abusing her, she can kill the person with her mind.
Well, just to mention what's on the screen now, like this Infinity Pool poster, it's the kind of thing that made me want to watch it.
That's like really
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, that's Mia Goth, Alexander Skarsgård, who I've got the completely wrong name, and now on digital, right?
So good.
It's not even in the film, really.
No, the pool, no, it's not there.
There is something of that. That's how they basically take him and they make other, like, versions of him. What do you call it? Not a replicant. I forgot the word for it now.
Oh, okay.
It has clones. Sorry.
Clones. It has. Oh God, the rating is really bad for this movie, Infinity Pool.
Oh, on Rotten Tomatoes. Or
IMDb.
Well, I'm not surprised, because it offers things which are good, and then it's almost like they don't know what to do with it, and so. Yeah, I mean, it almost has this feeling of like the film could have just been made up as it went along, or. I mean, frankly, I'm not even leveling that at a film like this, which is more artistic and, indie type of thing. But Scream 6 had the same kind of feeling. Like, are they just making this up as it goes along? It's. But I'll stop going on about Scream 6 because I just sound like a completely crazy person.
Oh, but Infinity.
That's another Scream 6. It's kill it in a convenience store. And just to ruin it for you, in this scene, the guy who's working on the till behind the manager or something, he brings out a double-barrel shotgun and starts blowing everything apart. It's like, I don't know. It just felt random, like stuff just happening. Kind of like, okay, we're in New York. There's got to be someone with a double-barrel shotgun in a convenience store, like, I don't know. It's just too overblown for me. Too silly, but not kind of dramatic enough. But actually, I saw an interview a review of it by Mark Kermode, and he said one of the better scenes in it is where they've got like a ladder between two apartments and they're trying to get across it, right? Okay. And I was watching that part, and I was just thinking, this is not good at all.
It has 91% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Are you kidding me?
What is that for, the critics or the audience?
The audience. That's crazy. Whoa. I need to watch
it. How much Coca-Cola and chocolate were these people eating? Making themselves very giddy and like, yeah.
How much alcohol?
Well, that as well, possibly. Actually, if you were drunk, you might enjoy it, but I don't know. I just sound like a right bitch. So, you know, but the thing is,
yeah, but you know that feeling when you are a fan of a movie, you will like all the movies in the series because you are just a fan of the.
I don't take those reviews from the public seriously about Scream 6 on there. That's the thing. I think the critics, yeah, they're fair enough. But because you've got to bear in mind, a lot of the people rating it are not going to be people who've watched all of the other Scream films, especially going back to the original one from '96. I mean, they may have watched bits and pieces of them or seen the original one or something, but so their expectations are so much lower. They're just, and they're not familiar with all of the sort of tricks of the trade of Scream filmmaking. But I can't speak for these people, but I just think like clicking on, you know, 0 to 10, if that's how many tomatoes they're giving it, you know. A lot of people are going to be like, oh yeah, I'll just give it 7, you know. And then there's going to be the people who give everything 10. So, but I don't know. Yeah, and I just don't think that the people like me who didn't particularly like the film are going to go on Rotten Tomatoes and rate it. So, because I'm sure I have to be signed into Rotten Tomatoes to be able to rate it, and I have never even signed up for it. So, if that's the case, and I've never rated anything on there. So,
yeah,
this is just a bit of film news here. This is the filming of Joker 2 here. So,
is that Lady Gaga?
yeah, she's coming down the steps. Apparently, she does a reprisal of his kind of dance on the stairs, but steps.
Oh, okay.
People are unsure of how much of a musical aspect it'll have, but you know, that doesn't bother me really. It's just as long as it's a good film, I suppose.
So, which movie is this?
Well, this is just going to be called it. Oh, it's called Joker 2 or Folie à Deux. Folie à Deux. How do you say it in French?
Okay.
New Indiana Jones poster. Oh, you're not really an Indiana Jones poster? I mean, Indiana Jones fan? Or...
Oh, no. I haven't watched it, you know.
Okay.
So I don't know if I like it. I have never watched it, so probably it's good.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's...
I haven't watched Star Wars, all these, you know, Star Trek, all these movies that are very, very popular. And I always wanted to watch.
Well, no, I've only seen, for instance, Return of the Jedi at the cinema when I was young, and I went through a phase, you know, of wanting some of the toys in there, but like lots of other young boys.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Return of the Jedi, I think, even at the time, that film was regarded as the lesser one of those because it was too much, you know, child-based stuff with the Ewoks and that kind of thing. But when you're young, you don't really think about that, do you? So
yeah,
just like it for the hijinks of it all and everything. So. Great films if you like great action and mythological films, says Ashton. It's
yeah, as long as they're good, why not?
This is just a trailer that I found today on VK.com. The Russian sort of made their own version of Facebook. It seems to. Do you know it? Or
yeah, I know it. Yeah.
I've been on there for many years, like because of the Twin Peaks interest on there. There's a huge amount of people who are into it. And this, I don't really know what this is exactly, but it's a bit mysterious. But I just thought I'd show the trailer now, just to have a look. A hawk as big as a horse.
Когда-то мне рассказали о гениальном орнитологе. Говорили, что он очень строгий преподаватель и что он одевается в женскую одежду. Еще говорили, что у него дома живут птицы, которые поют для него. А еще он верит в то, что он сам дрозд и поет, как птицы.
Не знаю, сейчас не выходит.
Сказочный мир, не похожий ни на какой другой. И пусть он придуман не мной, он побуждает меня возвращаться в сказочный мир, не похожий ни на какой другой. На многие годы. И пусть он придуман не мной.
Это псевдодокументалистика, это ерунда
Так,
какая-то.
а кто говорит, что это документалистика? Они просто делают фильм.
Jesus.
It's a model. It's like a model of a.
Oh wow.
То есть, что мы хотим сделать? Видео Twin Peaks на щербинке.
Камеру. Звук.
I mean,
That's
does
cool.
anybody out there actually understand what this trailer is for? Like, but I mean, I think it's great, and I saw it and I was thinking, you know, just are these people? Would they have had to reach out to somebody connected to Lynch or like his producer Sabrina because they're using, you know, the Sycamore Leaves tune and everything? Or does it, if it falls under kind of fair use because it's documentary, etc.? I don't know, but it just seems whoever is making this documentary or docu film, whatever it is, it's like it has real attention to detail, like, you know, the green things floating around, like little. That reminds me of those ones that were like that in the scene where Dougie is kind of drawing the ladders and things on the case files, and he sort of, it's like these green little things floating around. So it's like as if that's inspired them. Although I don't think it's something entirely, it's not like Lynch invented green glowing things going around it. I think that kind of thing has been in films before, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they're saying we want to make Twin Peaks in the name of the place, which is somewhere in Russia, I think, or I'm not sure, is it with it? But it's just that apparently in the film she wants to make a life model of an actress. That's what they're doing with the. I mean, as you know, say people and they're just filming themselves in kind of these mock-ups of the Red Room or whatever, the Black Lodge and everything. That kind of thing. We've seen it so many times. It's just. It's like, are they doing what they're doing there? Is it genuinely meant for like a documentary, or are they actually deliberately setting out to make it, you know, almost like a film? I wonder.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think they are, like it's being done knowingly. You know, the idea of like, you know, because we've seen that before, you know, where there's a guy who they get someone and they're going around on their knees. It's like, you just think, in the case of this, like, oh, come on, we can actually film this, because immediately it's going to make you look stupid, you know. And so, and the thing with this is it doesn't look like the people are by any means stupid, you know, and they are doing this in a knowing fashion, very, very much so. You know, I mean, even the title of it almost sounds like something like Lynch has titled it for them, but a hawk as big as a horse.
Yeah, the title
is bizarre. I mean, it's something which And this trailer doesn't have the comments are turned off, for instance, and I'm just thinking why. But I don't know. Do they? Because it just seems to me it's not because they think there's going to be some people going, "Oh my God, that Black Lodge looks stupid," or "What are you doing with this? I can't understand it. Please explain." You know, I mean, which is fine. You know, people can ask what they want, but they're more just they want the mystery of it, don't they? Which is perfectly in tune with Lynch, really, in his approach to these kind of things. But I don't know, it's just strange that I noticed that. And this week, there's been a whole interview with David Lynch in Cahiers du Cinema, and people trying to interpret that in different ways. But in that he was talking, the notable parts that people were trying to understand were, because it's being translated from French, it's sort of like, what does he mean by energy, for instance? I mean, yes, obviously we know, for instance, that when Lynch was making The Return, he got very tired out because he was working all the time. And even Sundays, he was like, didn't have time off properly. And so, you know, but he chose, I mean, he chose to make 18 hours of something, or 18 parts. And so, yeah, he must be very aware of how tiring such a thing could be. But in these interviews, I think with Lynch, like it's being said in a very sort of just honest, but also like a knowing way, where he's like thinking around an idea, thinking around a problem of how he can still be creative at his age, basically. I mean, and I've gone so far in my mind of often thinking that Lynch will have spoken to, for instance, Jennifer Lynch, you know, and his sons and things like that, about, oh, you know, what will happen after he's gone? You know, like, can we carry on the Lynch spirit in some way? And that's how I see it anyway. I don't think like he will have sat down and had long conversations with people about stuff like that, like in his family, because after all, you'd think in a way it would be a bit like depressing, you know, to be, but I definitely think that Lynch himself would be open to that kind of thing, to his spirit carrying on somehow, you know, and like, I don't know, you know, say if he'd already carried on and made something, then they could kind of carry it on if it wasn't fully completed. So, I mean, that kind of thing's been done before. But anyway, I mean, it's not like I'm thinking that's something which is entirely something that Lynch needs to worry about at this very moment, and certainly I hope not. But
well, if he dies, then there goes the hope of the cinema.
Well, you know, yeah, I was going to say that he's appears in the last scene of this new Spielberg film called The Fabelmans, but he's playing John Ford in that. The clip was up on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's still there, but I recommend the film overall, which Ben, who comes on the show, recommended to me as well. And it's certainly a curious film. It's not just as typical as what you think, like some idea, you know, of Spielberg kind of rising from, say, childhood into adulthood and then becoming, you know, a successful director and everything like that. It literally ends when he's probably, I think he's supposed to be about 18 or so, and that's where the film ends. But it deals more into him. Yes, he really has an aptitude for filmmaking, and it shows you that, and he's just so creative with it. But and he loves it, you know. And then he stops for a while, but then basically it also concerns how his mother, played by Michelle Williams in it, was having like a relationship with another man apart from her husband, who actually lived with them, played by Seth Rogen. And it's just like, what? And I was quite surprised by it in a way, especially when Ben told me about it, actually. So it's definitely an interesting thing. I think, as he told me, Ben, you know, that it's not necessarily something that Spielberg's spoken about. So this film is a revelation. But I think also Michelle Williams, her performance as his mother is quite.
Michelle Williams, the mother of David Lynch.
Yeah, that's who she plays it. No, she's the mother of Spielberg. But they call the Fabelmans. It's like, it's not really, it's just a stand-in name for, instead of calling it the Spielbergs, I suppose, or something. And I don't quite understand that, but I suppose the meaning of Fabelman must also be something to consider. But I just think the way she plays the role, it's like she's slightly out there, you know, and a bit, just something a bit strange about the way she performs and stuff. It's in moments it's quite uncomfortable. Like, well, basically, this is what Ben mentioned in our chat or when he was on the show. It's basically there's a sequence where she's dancing around when they go camping, and she's like in just a see-through sort of like white nightgown. You can imagine, I'm sure. They're out in the countryside or whatever, camping in the woods. And I think, you know, someone says, or the dad encourages young Spielberg to film on his camera. And then the girl, one of the daughters, she suddenly goes up to her mum and says, "Oh, mum, come on, stop now. Can't you see you can see right through your what you're wearing and everything?" And it's like, and then the dad's like, no, carry on. And it's just, yeah, she's got like, basically she's very proficient piano player, and she's obviously got this kind of performing aspect to her. But yeah, as Ben put it, he said that, you know, she's very much someone who's put that aside for raising a family. And so it's all just, it's not like necessarily, I mean, she gets a psychiatrist and stuff like this, and to deal with like various issues, and she has her low spells and etc. But I mean, it's a film which just subtly covers it without going into kind of some kind of intense detail about it, and then it just leaves you at the end really quite abruptly, especially after the Lynch appearance. And when Lynch is playing John Ford, who they introduce as like the greatest director ever, they have like a sound of a record scratching, like as soon as he comes in the room, like, and he's quite acerbic. He's quite acerbic, and he tells young Spielberg to F off at one point. So, yeah. But it was a decent film. He's actually Mandela Man in the chat, and he says, "Can you ask Mrs. Gerwig what inspired her to choose Margot Robbie to play the plastic princess Bambi in her upcoming film?"
Oh my God!
He's basically saying that you are Greta Gerwig. So I don't know, you know, I can't explain why he's chosen to say this, but it's probably just a joke. So, do you know Greta Gerwig?
No, I mean, yeah, the one who made the Barbie movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's in a film called Mistress America, which I thought was really great. I've enjoyed that film. I've watched it more than once, and it's probably more a laid-back kind of film. But she certainly got I can understand how some people might find her, for instance, I think she came out of what was termed by a lot of critics as mumblecore filmmaking, you know, like where people were just sort of like, I suppose the actors were supposed to be behaving naturally and things like that. And so it could have been seen as if they were mumbling or something rather than speaking properly.
Yeah, I don't know about this Barbie movie. I saw the trailer, so I don't know what is the point of.
You mean where she's like walking really tall, or which trailer?
I just don't understand the meaning.
But I don't think that. I'm not sure that must be a
I
part of
think
the film. That's in some way because it's too good to be left just as the trailer. But yeah, I think the film. People have a few comments I've read are people are saying, "I'm not going to take my girl to see this." I think he was, and I thought, "What do you mean, your girlfriend?" No, he means obviously like a child.
my child. Yeah,
Because if you watch the proper trailer, there's something about there's some
it's not
part
for
where they
children.
use a different word instead of swearing. But anyway, I don't think they're not aiming for like a particularly. I think like they probably think, yeah, if people are so into Barbie and they love it, like little girls, they could go and see it, but they probably won't know what the hell's going off with it. To be honest, I
No,
don't.
you should warn people that don't bring your
But
child.
there's not gonna be actual scenes of like there's two trailers. I saw one where it says, and Ken's just like, hey, I want to go back to can I come back to your place tonight, Barbie? And she's sort of like, what for, Ken? What? I don't quite know, but and it's just, I mean, they're not going to have them getting undressed and then discovering they don't have anything down
No,
there.
I think they will. I don't know. Maybe it's just it's not
Well, if they did that, then it would definitely, you can't take like, an 8-year-old girl to go and see it, really, can you? So much.
Yeah, but it's not for children. The movie is like a just regular movie for adults. I mean, not an adult movie, but a movie for adults.
It's not for like, it's not for girls who actually just had their own Barbie. It's for girls who are grown up and they know about Barbie or stuff, and they think it's stupid or something now, or they are fond of it, and then they can laugh kind of at this,
Yeah.
I don't really know how popular Bond. I think like now, even like Barbie and things like that, a lot of it is tongue in cheek anyway, from Mattel or whoever produces it and stuff. It's not the same as what it once was. Like
No, but
like
it was
30 years
popular
ago,
in
so much.
Romania. It was very popular in Romania when I was little.
Well,
I wanted a Barbie doll, but I got
My
some
sister
kind
had
of fake Barbie doll.
we had in this country, we had Barbies, and I think my sister had a Barbie, but there was an English version called Cindy's, and they were sort of like not quite as tall, slightly more realistic, like a curvy woman, not like just a Barbie, like like a stick. And but well, you know what I mean. But I do remember though cutting.
What?
I don't know why I'm laughing at this. This just shows my mentality again. I do remember cutting the hair off one of my sister's dolls.
Oh my god!
And it was just a bald doll. Shaven.
Oh, poor sister! Oh my god!
Well, she seemed to have a collection of different dolls that some were sort of been passed along from a friend or something like that, and I picked on one that was a bit more forlorn and maybe, but it was wrong, definitely.
Yes, it was. Barbies are very sacred, You have to know that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Ben. What you've described there, Mandela Man is his on-screen name there, about how, if he was 18 or before that, and he discovered that his mum was in a sort of, apparently it wasn't like a physical, but it was very close, relationship with this other guy who actually lived with them, and he's played by Seth Rogen. It's just that's pretty weird, isn't it? Even if there's nothing going on, but they kind of sometimes hold hands, or it's very old-timey sort of thing. But to learn about that, how he's learned about it in the film, it's portrayed as he picks up on it by seeing recordings he's made of his mum when they went camping, and she's just in the background. But she's the Seth Rogen character, sometimes trying to put his arm into hers or hold her hand, and she sort of brushes him away a bit, and then eventually they're sort of standing very close, more affectionately, and it's a weird thing. But I think for Spielberg to have discovered that at a young age about his mum and everything, and then learn to understand it, how she was, and like she still loved her husband and everything, and so, but she just had this thing about her where she had to be, and she moved out and she moved away from the family to live with this other guy, so Uncle Benny or whatever his name was. I mean, that must have made a big impact on Spielberg at a young age. Never mind the anti-Semitism that he suffered at school and things like that, but it must have made him a very understanding person, I think, in his case. It could have made some people more, like, lose their marbles a bit or be very upset. I don't know, but I mean, everyone is different. That's just the thing. But in his case, seems like he was very intelligent and could somehow. I think he had some big similarities with his mother. You see, so. And I do, like, a lot of people might just dismiss Spielberg because he's so successful and so popular and all this kind of thing. Like, but at his best, and the films that I most love of his and everything, you can't deny just how good they are. I mean, it was something like Duel is fantastic, and that was made for TV initially. But then Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that film, I think it's like fantastic. Yeah. Have you never seen that? Have you ever watched it much, or Close Encounters?
Yeah, it was good.
Well, there's so many different versions of it now as well, and so it's just before we finish and everything tonight and stuff, I just wanted to mention a film I was sent by Gary on here. It's not really related to Spielberg, perhaps, but another great filmmaker, Nicholas Roeg. The film Don't Look Now, where it's Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie and everything. I just watched the start of that again recently, and I was just thinking, this is just this kind of filmmaking, it's really just amazing. There's just nothing like it now, hardly. I mean, I don't know. There's many interesting films still, but it's powerful filmmaking. That I thought it was great. Just the way, if you watch just the start of that film and everything, it's like his editing and just choice of images and everything. It's so it spoils you, really. So, but
Babylon.
Well, Babylon is another film that Mandela Man likes, I think. So
Babylon is the Barbie movie is like Babylon or what?
Babylon is like 3 hours and 2 minutes long. I've seen that. I was looking at it today on the new films available on Prime or something. So it's Margot Robbie again, and she was in Amsterdam, a film as well, which was fairly recent, with that Mandela Man has recommended, but I've not seen either of those.
Haven't seen it yet. Oh
yeah.
Okay.
What?
Steven Spielberg has revealed his family secrets.
Well, he's talking about the film The Fabelmans, but
Okay,
so yeah, I honestly recommend it to you highly. It's like, I mean, do you remember the TV show The Wonder Years or something like that? The Wonder Years. Well, I mean, it's not like it's modest filmmaking and everything for Spielberg. It's not like, some kind of epic film. It's focused in on his family, and it's quite straightforward, and it deals with, more usual day-to-day events and things, but it's good. It's still good. It's not it's not E.T., but it's not Saving Private Ryan. But then it's not even the remake of West Side Story, which came out about a year ago, and I saw that at the cinema and I enjoyed it. So that was by Spielberg.
Okay, I haven't seen. Haven't been to the cinema because of the pandemic, so I just now started going. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't go for quite a while, but then I remember when the cinemas opened again, they scheduled that Christopher Nolan film Tenet. That must have been in about 2021 or something, and then I went to see that again before there was another lockdown, I think. But
yeah,
I mean, Tenet is not necessarily the greatest film of all time for Christopher Nolan, but it was. I can imagine you've not seen that one, so that's. Goofy score. Well, in the credits, or the trailer for the film, it immediately starts talking about, "Hey man, take a smoke of this joint," or something like that. It's just so I can tell what the film's going to be like. If it's going to be 3 hours, then I don't know if it's going to be people just having non-stop drug orgies. I don't know, but it's. It looks, Deliverance. Sorry, Performance is a great film. Sorry. That's another Don't Look Now related film by Nicholas Roeg, but also directed by Camel. Is it Douglas Camel, or kind of co-directed it?
Yeah. So
Well, he's not referring to the Fabelmans. He's talking about a film that Spielberg made, like one of his first, probably for TV or something, when he first started off working on TV. As a way of getting into films.
Yeah.
I think that was sort of like one method of doing it back then. I mean, that was only just when the film industry was more opened up, really, to just ordinary people getting into it. Because before then, like, you had to be connected to somebody else to get into it and everything. Right? Yeah. And I will mention that I saw. This is probably no one who watches will have BBC because they're in the US or something, but I did watch Blue Lights on the BBC. It's about police in Ireland. It's only 6 episodes, but it's not specifically very Irish, though. Like, some people have reviewed it and said this is completely unrealistic. If this was in Ireland, for instance, it wouldn't be like this. But
do you mean the police in Ireland? It's about the police here.
It's more about young recruits who are on probation or whatever they call it, and they have to go to target practice and things like that. But it's not really like that. Makes it sound sort of like more exciting, like an action-driven thing. It's not really. It's more about just a few personalities in it. I don't know if you've heard of Line of Duty, which was on the BBC. That was a police drama, but that was bigger budget for sure, and had some they were usually quite impressive action sequences and things in it. This was not like that so much. It's decent. It was mainly just dealt with a very straightforward story of them trying to crack some drugs dealers and stuff, but it was like everything seemed to be just everybody seemed to be linked like to someone else, and you know, had already joined with the police or with whichever forces, you know. So that's just revealed like, oh yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's like an informer. I hate myself for it, but I'm an informer. I hate myself. Well, they think they're going to get a free get out of jail card, you know, because they've worked with the police, but then they don't at the last minute, things like that. But you know, it is not bad. I mean, I think you would appreciate it because you know, you love Ireland, and specifically the. No, honestly, the depiction of the places in this is not really that. I think it's in Belfast.
Oh, it's in Belfast, not in
Let me
Dublin.
just check.
Belfast is not really Ireland, you know. I mean, it's like a bit of British mentality there, because it's the Northern Ireland.
Let me just check where it's at. It's all right. TV. Oh my God, it's coming up with blooming film or something now. It's not a film. Thin Blue Line. I'm looking up blue lines. It's blue lights. Hear me. Set in Northern Ireland, the series follows rookie police officers working in Belfast.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you have BBC iPlayer?
BBC. No.
Yeah, but if you get the iPlayer, it's like
we can get
then
BBC, of course, but there is no BBC in Ireland, like a BBC, like a version of.
No, I said iPlayer. iPlayer.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you just go on there, it's got all the blue lights on there.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. You might not even like police dramas, so you know, I'm not trying to force you to watch it.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. The police in Ireland is like very laughed about, so it's not taken. They are not taken seriously. It's like a comedy. They're like comical characters because you know they are very useless. You know, because there are so many drug problems here, and they don't do anything about it. You know, they're just like don't care so much. Drug problems, crime problems, all this kind of stuff.
Oh well, maybe it's just, you know, lack of other. There aren't enough police and things like that, you know.
No, there are not enough police, and they just like don't care as much as, you know, I don't know, British police or American police, or you know, they are just very laid back, you know, very forgiving.
Well, all right. I don't want to. If anyone from the police in Ireland or Northern Ireland is watching this, I would just like to say, I actually think you are fantastic because I've watched Blue Lights and you were good in that. So, because it is actually a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's actually a really good drama if you want to watch something. I really thought it was great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find pictures of like the show where it showed sort of, you know, some of the locations, but it focuses mainly on this one corner of an estate and stuff where they call it Out of Bounds or something, and because of obviously undercover operations going on and things like that to do with this drugs. That's probably what you're describing.
Yeah.
It's Out of Bounds. They've got undercover operations that go on for long times, but you know, I mean, it's probably real though. That's probably the reality. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too. Well, it doesn't look any different from an estate in somewhere in England. So, you know.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't really. It didn't.
British police is more like unforgiving, you know. I don't know. No.
Well, it depends on the situation they're in. I'm sure, and the location and all sorts of things. But what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what specific drugs related things you're talking about, but you know,
like there is like a knife fights here on the streets and drug problems, and street violence, and there is
What
not
have you
much that they are doing.
have you witnessed it or?
No, not myself. No. I've just seen it on YouTube. In Dublin, like street violence in Dublin.
Oh, good. I'm glad you've not actually been there in it.
No,
Or
because
seeing
I
it.
haven't been to the center, for many times. So, Spielberg's The River is another great TV series. Cut short. I haven't seen The River. I don't know. What? TV series by Spielberg. That sounds good.
Let me just look that up. I presume it's something that's produced. Oh yeah, it was from about a decade ago. It's a found footage supernatural horror series.
Oh.
Never even heard of it. He was just an executive producer.
Okay.
None of it directed by Spielberg. All right, then. Anyway, it is a bit late now, so thank you for joining me, Melina. Is it
Thank you,
Melina or
James.
Melina? Melina.
Marlena, yeah, Marlena.
Marlena, sorry.
Yeah. Yes. We'll do this again. Well, whenever you are live and whenever I am free, I can join.
Great. Well, I appreciate you being on so late now and everything, and it's been good to talk to you.
Yeah, it was very good.
For sure.
Okay, so
bye to Isabella Mars. Thanks for your comment, and thank you everyone else there in the chats. Bye for now. Bye. Thanks everyone again, and I'll be seeing you in the trees. Bye for now.